Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. So, Politicope today. I wouldn't have made this normally other than the just seemingly disproportionate reaction on the left. I'm used to seeing something happen and going to read what the left says and expecting them to be worried or despondent or whatever. And then no matter how many times this happens, I'm like Charlie Brown with the football. I go to their sites and they still feel great. They're still optimistic. They're still sure they're going to win, and they either aren't worried about whatever it is I thought they'd be worried about, or they actually think it's good for them. And today is the first time I remember that the opposite happened. I like this thing with Trump, the Supreme Court saying they're going to hear Trump's case, and Trump says he's got immunity, like from prosecution, and the Supreme Court agreed to take that case. Now the Supreme Court's going to rule against him, but they didn't have to take the case. They agreed to take the case, which what that means is it delays, as far as we know. Things are always subject to change, but as far as we know, that makes it so it's not possible to put Trump on trial before the election, because they lose too much time, because it's going to be like 4 or 5 months before the Supreme Court can even hear it. And the Supreme Court may very well try to delay it as long as they can, delay their own ruling as long as they can. But but anyway, I just figured, to me, it was obvious that was always going to happen. I would assume that to anybody of course, that's what the Supreme Court was going to do. What else could they do? But apparently liberals really thought, they've been getting so excited about this Jack Smith stuff. They really thought Smith was going to take them out before the election. And that's just not the way you're going to beat Trump. You're going to have to beat him at the ballot box. And yeah, I don't know why they're so surprised. I think what it might be kind of bring reality. I think it might be more of a reality check than anything else. They've been able to they see the polls. They know that Biden's polling pretty poorly against Trump right now. And Trump tends to outperform his polls. And I know with the primaries, and we'll get into that in a second. I would say right now, if the election were held today, I would say Trump beats Biden by 2 points. I think in the actual election in November, I think Trump will win by more like 5. Just because I expect the economy to be pretty bad then, worse than it is now. But yeah, so I think that's it. I think they've been kind of able, I guess liberals have been just kind of able to live in this sort of la land, this even more than usual, that Jack Smith is just going to make Trump go away. And now that it's the reality is that Trump is going to be the nominee, there's not going to be a trial before the election. They're going to have to win an election, and they see the polling right now, and it looks bad for Biden. It's not over. It's not over. Biden could very well win, but right now things look bad. So my guess is that's what it is. On Trump in general and the primaries, he's Nikki Haley's continuing to do this no hope campaign, but she's being funded. She's getting free media airtime, getting a lot of media support, and getting massive amounts of Democrat money pumped in. And there's a lot, and they're using lots of Democrat voters, lots of Trump derangement liberals, who people in my family. I don't think any of them are involved in voting against Trump, but they've certainly something I could see them doing, registering as Republicans or registering as independents, re-registering, and then voting in the primary against Trump to vote for Haley. I could see them. I definitely could see my family members maybe doing that or having done. I don't know if they did that in the primary we just had, but I could definitely see it. And so those things together, they've been able to, enough to be annoying to Trump, but that's about it. Trump's clearly going to be the nominee. Nobody disputes that now. Super Tuesday will be in a week. And then I think exactly a week, right? No, a little bit less than a week. And by then I think it'll be mathematically over, or very close to mathematically over. So there's not going to be a contested convention or a brokered convention or whatever they're calling it. It's just going to be Trump, and that's going to be that. It's going to be a coronation. No matter what the media can say whatever they want, but everybody knows what it is. So Yeah, I mean, people are saying the fact that, or some liberals at least are trying to say that, and never Trump types are saying that, well, the fact that Haley's doing so well bodes bad for Trump in the general. No, I don't think so. It's just it's mainly people voting for him. No, I don't think so. The people voting for Haley are mostly just Biden voters, Democrats, Biden voters, whatever you want to call them, or they're old line never Trumpers. I don't think they're. I'm not worried about it. The thing is, the only thing that I look at is the Trump versus Biden polls, and right now Trump's winning by a comfortable margin. He's winning by 2 points. I think that's what he would win by if the election were held today. And Trump tends to overperform his polls. Now people are going to say, well, Trump's been underperforming the polls in the primaries. Primary polling is a different thing. It's very difficult to poll primaries, and it's really difficult to poll these primaries because you have just an unprecedented amount of Democrat crossover voters. So no, I don't put anything into that. I think that the polls we have are good. I think if anything, they're likely still underestimating Trump. I think Trump is probably going to smash Biden up pretty bad, unless a lot changes for the better in the country and in the world between today and election day. I just think that the mood in the country has shifted. The So, which is, I mean, to me, things don't feel that bad right now, but I guess for a lot of people they are. The inflation's still continuing to hurt people, especially if you're somebody who rents and doesn't own. I do think, though, we're going to see home values collapse and the stock market collapse later this year, and that's where you're going to start to see a bigger pain and bigger chunks come out of Biden's support. I mean, he's in that 40% range. He can't get much lower than he is right now, because there's 40% who are going to approve of a Democrat no matter what. But no, I could see it going down. I mean, certainly in my family, there's no enthusiasm for Biden. Now, my brother's a far left lunatic, so he always has hated Biden. But the rest of my family are definitely Biden types. They don't love the guy like a lot of more politically engaged liberals do. But politically, they're very they think he's perfect politically, because he's basically Obama, who they did love. He's Obama, except, not likable, not charismatic, or not as charismatic, and senile. So, yeah, that's where we are with that. With the economy, it's still tough. I mean, there's definitely signs of the economy breaking down. I really don't know when recession's going to be still. You'd say maybe later in the year. Yeah, it's tough. I really don't know. One interesting thing that I saw is because, you have all the indicators that say we should have been in a recession by October of last year at the latest. And it looks like we're still not in a recession now, and we're in March. So what happened? I know we had some slowdowns that maybe they were predicting that instead of the actual recession. But the thing is, if you actually look at the data, financial conditions have not tightened. The Fed has raised rates, but financial conditions never tightened, probably because of the inflation. Or who the fuck even knows? I don't know. This whole economy is so fucking weird right now. But so yeah, I don't know where that is. I mean, again, I think before I predicted April, I don't know, at the end of 2022, when I predicted May, I shouldn't have predicted it that early. I should have made it September. But that was a firm prediction based on leading indicators saying that there should be a recession by September at the latest, maybe October. So those indicators already hit. And there was no recession. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's no other leading indicators to look for, other than it looks like initial unemployment claims have bottomed. But dude, I've got no fucking idea. I mean, I guess I'm going to say the recession probably starts in July. And the only reason I'm saying that is because it looked like we were going to have a recession last July, or last June, or last July is when it looked like we were going to have a recession, and they somehow pushed it off. So my guess is that they just somehow extended everything a year. So the recession starts in June or July, and then the economy and then the stock market crashes in September or October. That's my guess, but I don't know. It's a total guess. I don't have any data this time. I'm completely lost when it comes to the economy. But overall, right now, I think things look really good for Trump. The other thing is the stuff in Russia. It does look like Russia's made some gains. I'm going to have to read more into it. I wouldn't say, I mean, Russia's has the initiative at this point. Um, you know, there's politically it's a struggle to get aid to Ukraine. But even if it does get there, I don't know if it would be enough for Ukraine to actually like turn the tide. Maybe just, that's really just for Ukraine to hold out. Um, yeah, I think the situation there is very unclear too. When, we'll see. If the West gets its act together, it can definitely win. But at some point, Ukraine runs out of people. So, you don't. So it's tough. But like, even if the U.S. is out, the Western allies can provide enough aid to keep Ukraine in the fight forever. So I don't think there's any danger of Russia conquering Ukraine, which is good. But I don't know if Ukraine's going to be. I mean, the earliest Ukraine would be able to like launch its own attacks again would be 2025, and I don't even know what their situation is going to be like then, if they're going to be able to do it or not. So the situation there is really iffy, which is just, it's part of the whole globalist thing. So like, globalism takes a defeat. I mean, obviously we want Ukraine to be safe and free, but we also don't want to see the globalists further empowered. So right now, I mean, hopefully there's a peace agreement soon. I mean, that's the only thing we can say is like, hopefully there's a peace agreement soon. But right now it looks like kind of a stalemate. So we'll just have to wait and see with that. Now, if there's like an economic crisis sometime in 2024, that's what could really change things. Like if there was an economic crisis, the West would still have the resources to support Ukraine, but politically it might get more difficult. And that might mean to like the peace that gets signed is more advantageous to Russia. Just kind of like how Nazi Germany got away with a lot of stuff before the UK and France finally declared war. Partially because those economies and the U.S. economies were still, mangled from the Depression. So Nazi Germany had more leeway than they otherwise might have. And I think there might be a situation like that if there's an economic crisis in the West, which I do think there will be. I just don't think it's going to be what some people are thinking it's going to like end the dollar. Could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. So right now we're just going to have to wait and see. Certainly, it would be great if the issue gets resolved before Trump gets in, because I wouldn't want Trump to have to take responsibility for that mess. That's all for now. See you in the next.